Hello, it says I'm live. Just getting some lotion on my hands. It's that time of year, huh? I am so happy to see whoever is here and give a minute to come on down to the Price is Right. Um, I've got my wax in my teeth. Hopefully, I won't sound as funny as I sounded yesterday. I think I had a little too much wax in my teeth yesterday. But I was in a ton of pain too, and today's better, I think. It's been a really bad week with that. Anyone who's had the metal braces understands. Thank goodness I didn't get the metal up top. I got the plastic ones up top. But there are still like shards of glass in my mouth because they put little metal wires in there that just want to poke you inside of your cheek and slice you and dice you. Anyway, I got my little sign where you can see it. Make sure you're still subscribed, turn on your notification bell to ring, and share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like the channel. Oh, I have some visitors. If you want to say hi, please do. Then I'll know that you can hear me okay. And if you don't want to say hi, that's fine too. Hit your like button if you'd be so kind, but don't hit it too hard. You might hurt your thumb, right? So, yay, we're on live. So exciting. And my hair's a little funky. Anna Bees. I forgot to text anybody. Hi, Jazz and everyone. How was your Thanksgiving? OMG, it was so good, Anna Bees. How about you? How was yours, my dear? Yes, we had ham. Oh my goodness. I should be a spokesperson for Costco because I love Costco. We bought a ham from Costco that was the best damn ham I've ever had in my life. I kid you not. Seriously. So amazing. So yeah, we had a really good holiday. It was real mellow, low key. I was able to even do a video yesterday and I did not overeat. So I'm excited about that. And I haven't been pigging out on the seconds yet today. I've had a little bit of the leftovers. I said pigging out on the seconds. I mean pigging out on the leftovers. So I got some cords down there by my feet. How about you? How was your day? Mine was good, but my son and family left today, so I'm sad. Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. Don't remind me my little baby leaves today or tomorrow. So he's at his mom's house, because my son is in Texas in school. The one who's the father of the 8-month-old. He'll be 8 months old the day after tomorrow. And so he's here with the mom, and the mom has been staying at her family's house, and she's come to visit like 3 times while she's been here. But unless they extend their trip, I don't think I'm going to see him again. He's so effing cute. It's insane. So yeah, I hope that your kids have safe travels and all. So, Anna Bees, what have you been paying attention to in the news, if anything? Because it's just a shit show. Oh, I'm not supposed to curse yet. I'm not 7 minutes in. It's just a poop fest, right? It's insane. I wanted to talk more about the shooting in DC from a few days ago. Since I made my video yesterday, sadly, the 20-year-old female that was wounded has passed away. The 24-year-old male, they were both from West Virginia. He's still hanging in there. I just checked right before I came on. So prayers for both families, of course. It's like, I don't want to jump the gun. And I said this yesterday in saying that it's a false flag operation and saying that it's street theater and saying that it's staged. And at the same time, I see all of the signs there that tell me that. First of all, I've been saying for weeks now that our Tenacious D is just desperate to do anything to distract from the Epstein files, and that I'll say Trumpstein files, and that I've been expecting literally for things to be blowed up, war to be declared, assassinations to happen. I'm trying to mix up the words so that it doesn't go right into the algorithm and make me lose my stream. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me in the least, the thing in DC. And just the way it's panning out, the craziness of how it's handled or mishandled. And when they do these, I'm convinced Charlie Kirk was a psyop and a false flag and a street theater and whatever you want to call it. And same with the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania in July of 2024. Oh my goodness, you guys. Anna B's, I saw a pattern. Let me just spit it out before I get off track. The pattern is the day before things happen. So the assassination attempt was the day before the 2-year anniversary of Ivana falling down the stairs to her end. It's my theory that that was done to postpone the depositions that were scheduled to start the very next day. So that was kind of a twofer, because there was a distraction from Ivana and Tenacious D's kids in grieving the loss of their mother 2 years earlier, because we all know how hard anniversaries are. Tenacious D was able to become the center of the attention because, he always needs that, right? And then I think I wrote it down so I don't forget what I'm talking about. The day before pattern. This is why I have to take notes. Brain is just like, wah, wah. I'll get to your comments in just a second. I'm just trying to stay focused. Okay, so it was the day before Thanksgiving that the shooting happened in downtown DC, right in front of the White House. It was the day before 9/11 that Charlie Kirk was assassination, right? The day before the depositions. These weren't the day before anything, but the Rudy Giuliani weird crap with the car accident. Remember that? And he was like helping a damsel in distress that was actually beating her spouse. So she wasn't the damsel in distress. She was posing as the damsel in distress. So Rudy tried to help her, blah, blah, blah. And then right after that, he got in a car crash. And then we had the big balls dude getting allegedly attacked in downtown DC when he was being a hero, trying to help someone who was getting carjacked, right? And all those mean teenagers got him. They're mean. And they were 15. And the first thing our president said was that he wanted to lower the age of prosecuting teenagers as adults to 15. Which you can already prosecute a teenager as an adult, right? Case by case. But I was suspicious of his motive for that. And we'll try to get back to that in a minute. I'm going to try to streamline my thought process here. So then the day before the 9/11 attack with Charlie Kirk, those 3 incidences, at least 2 of the 3, I'm pretty sure with Big Balls too. But with Rudy Giuliani and with Charlie Kirk, they were then awarded medals of honor, like the highest level of honor for a civilian, for Rudy Giuliani and for Charlie Kirk posthumously. And then I think there was something like that for Big Balls, but I'm not sure. But it's really important to remember that Big Balls' granddad was a double agent that was executed. And I can read to you about that so that you know I'm not just pulling that out of thin air. And then when you got our president, the guy who pretends to be our president, when you have him showing pictures, he pulls out photographs, 8x10. Anna Bees, it reminds me of that weirdo that just cleaned her channel off of the YouTube, or somebody cleaned it off of the YouTube. The Jesus Army for Jesus, whatever weird YouTube Kylie Rodney channel that was. She would print those pictures. Remember, she'd run out of ink, and then she'd try to hit up her viewers for more money to buy more ink. It was kind of funny because we're like, ink. I'm out of ink. I need ink. Not to make fun of anybody for being broke, but it kind of seemed like ink might have been a substance of another sort. Like some booger sugar or some nose candy or something. I mean, those are funny terms that I just heard recently, so I had to throw them in there. Anyway, she would print photos and show them, which, yeah, that's a good solution if you're like me and you're technologically challenged. Although it does waste a lot of ink, and ink is expensive. But our president does that too. So he had a photograph. What was he showing a photograph of? Like the immigrants from Afghanistan coming over on the airplane or something, and he keeps showing it. This is just in the last day or two. But I haven't seen him doing that with the photo props since the woman that was attacked on the public transportation train in North Carolina a few months ago, the one from Ukraine, Irene Zarusky or something like that. That beautiful model, I think she was 23 years old, attacked by a man who is black, and Donnie Two Dolls would hold the two photographs, like the one of the beautiful blonde victim and then the mentally ill black man. That was weird. And that was like in August or something, because that was right before the Charlie Kirk thing. And it was interesting too, because Charlie Kirk was one of the only YouTube channels that talked about her case. I mean, I talked about it a little bit, but not at first, just because there was so much going on. It was too distracting. Like, once I realized that it was going on, that her case was going on, I started talking about it too. But I thought it was weird that Charlie Kirk was talking about it, and then the same thing with it being videotaped, the homicide being videotaped, and then it being available online. And now, just in the last hour, I see that you can watch some of the shooting from downtown Washington, D.C. You can see it online, Anna Bees. It's just like, you shouldn't be able to see the stuff online when it's still under investigation. This whole freaking thing is a dog and pony show, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to apologize for that either, because it is abundantly clear in my opinion. It's been so much. I didn't know that much because I tried to ignore. I know, me too. I try. He is doing everything. She was a trip, and I'm being nice. Who she was a trip. Are you talking about Janine Pirro or whatever that goofball's name is? She's been like the government representative, which, she's a drunk Fox News host, just like Keg's Breath. And he's literally ordering to have everybody unalived on these boats in Venezuela. Take a breath. A for J. Thank you. Yeah. I know. I don't even like to bring her up. But when Donnie Two Dolls was showing his freaking photograph that's a prop, because he always needs to have props with him, right? Always something to distract. Or he likes to point. He's like a little toddler, Look, what's that? You, next question, go away. Quiet, piggy. Quiet, piggy. Him and his freaking finger. Anyway, okay. I'm going to try to calm down. stay focused. It's too much to talk about. Yeah, I know you are being nice when you just say she was a trip. I don't know what was up with her, and I don't really care. I'm just glad that she's gone. But the thing with her being such a whack job and doing that thing with the photographs, this guy who's in that position of our president is doing that too. And I really want to pay homage to Ara when she came on my live. What was that, a week or two ago, when we did the call in on the phone, since I don't have the technology to do a split screen and have a guest. I need to do that. But anyway, she was my first guest. Isn't that cool? Love Ara. And she was talking about the theory, the idea that this guy is not her president and he's just a bozo the clown. He's not really president. And it wasn't in the moment, but in the days following that I realized that, I mean, I was following what she said and I really liked what she had to say. I think Ara has a lot of insight and wisdom way beyond her years. I mean, she's a full-grown adult and all that, but she's not as elderly as I am, as we are, right, Anna Biggies? But she's so wise beyond her years. Anyway, the idea that she was talking about is something like from that book, The Four Agreements. Are you familiar with that book, Anna B's? Because that's another one of my Bibles that I refer to a lot and that I recommend a lot. And I wish I had thought of it in the moment to discuss it with Ara, because it's my guess that she's read it. And if she hasn't, she'd be very interested. And the idea behind the Four Agreements is that we have 4 agreements that we live by, that if we identify them and work on them, that we can improve the quality of our lives dramatically. That we don't have to buy into these agreements, but it's a choice. And just looking at that everything in our life is an agreement. So, like we agree to say, okay, this douchebag is president. You don't have to make that agreement. You can say, no, this douchebag is not president. He's a criminal. And it's just a matter of time until he's stripped of his ridiculous title and put in prison, in my opinion. So anyway, like I said, I'm trying to stay focused because I'm so excited to be on. I didn't make videos for a few days because of my braces situation and the baby visiting. It was just too hard. Like, I did a live late Saturday night. I think I did like a 2-hour live. I might have done one Sunday, maybe. Might have done one Monday. But I skipped a few days. I think I skipped Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then yesterday was the first time in a few days. And I just miss it like crazy when I don't do it. It's so funny. Like, you'd think I could just like kick my feet up and use a break, but it is really therapeutic for me. I'm much better if I do it than if I don't do it. So that's what drives me. So Aaron Parnas, are you familiar with him, Anna B's? He's a content creator that I've spoken a great deal about, but not enough. I haven't spoken about him enough. But I've learned more about him too that I'm excited to share with you. He's the one whose father is Lev Parnas, and Lev Parnas was one of Donnie Tudall's fixers in the first administration, who did hard time for being his fixer and for breaking the law. And when he did hard time, Donnie Tudall's pretended that he'd never heard of him. He's like, I don't know that guy. And this guy was like Michael Cohen. He was super tight with him. So while Lev was in prison, he turned his life around. And Aaron is his son, who was already on a very different path. And they both have YouTube channels now. So Lev's channel is called Lev Remembers. And he's an older man. He's amazing. I love his channel. I love his content. He knows so much from the inside track because he lived it. And he's so generous with his information and his thoughts and feelings. And I think just really helpful to try to get a handle, wrap your mind around what's going on right now in our government. So his son, Aaron Parnas, started a YouTube channel way back, and Lev was tight with Charlie Kirk. So when his son told him he was starting his YouTube channel, he was like, "Oh, great, son, you can be like another Charlie Kirk." And Aaron was like, "Actually, Dad, that's kind of like the opposite of what I plan on doing and who I am and where I'm at." And I think it was hard for Lev to take that, but he respected his son's and autonomy and independence, and respected his views. But then when he was in prison, he came around to having the same similar types of views. So Aaron is a young man, probably in his 20s. I really like his channel. He's also highly informative. He's really serious. He's kind of like doom and gloom because he just goes straight to the chase. He doesn't sugarcoat it or anything. Like his dad's kind of jovial and likes to laugh and try to be light at times. Aaron's not like that. Not at all. And I need the humor, but I also like the straight truth. I don't need it sugarcoated, except sometimes after I've had too much of that, right? Aaron finished high school when he was 16, finished his bachelor's degree when he was 18, went into law school. I think he finished law school and was a lawyer by the time he was 21. Like, this is like a serious Doogie Howser. When he was 21 was when his dad got arrested. I'll put a link in the description to his newish video where he talks about how that was the worst day of his life. And then the aftermath of him basically being labeled as Lev Parnas's son. He was already extremely successful with his YouTube, I think. I think he already had his YouTube going strong. He'd already worked as a lawyer, and I think he'd quit. No, he got fired. He lost his job as a lawyer, but I think he was already doing his YouTube thing. Anyway, I'll have to watch it again, and I'll put a link in the description to it so that you can watch it, and then I can get more thorough with the knowledge of his life story, because it was so fascinating. And I was just like, damn, because I think I mentioned in one of my videos the other day that he had said that he had read Virginia Giuffre's book in a day. It's almost 400 pages. It took me a week, even when I was reading it quietly to myself. It basically took me the same amount of time to read it to you guys in videos. And the same day that he read her book, and I believe him, I don't think he's fubbing, or fudging or whatever. I don't think he's goofing with that. I think that I know somebody who was like that. The same day that he read her book, he also read all 20-some thousand emails that were released that same day of the Trumpstein file crap. He read all of the 20,000 emails in a day, Annabes, in the same day that he read a book that was almost 400 pages. Not a lightweight book at all. And I was so glad that I caught him saying that in his video, because I was just like, OMG, I've only known one person like that in my life. And I can't remember if I've shared with you, Annabes. Do you remember if I've shared on my channel? If you were there, because I might have shared it. I might have even talked about it more than once. But when I was really little, my mother was good friends with Patch Adams. And Patch Adams is the only other person that I've ever known of in my lifetime who could literally read like that. Like, he showed me how it was done. He would take a book and he would basically, I don't think he'd quite do it this quickly, but he had a photographic memory and he could retain what he was reading. So he did it with a paperback book when he was demonstrating for me, and I was like 5. And when he showed me how he read a thick paperback book, he told me he could read it in under an hour and he could recall everything he read. And like I said, I believed him because he didn't seem to be joking around. He wasn't a jokester. He was a doctor. He was a real serious guy. He had been trying to start the Gesundheit Institute in Washington, D.C., and my mother and him were very tight, and they were tight through much of their lives. So I got a cute story about it. But it wasn't until I saw the movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams where, because Patch was really humble and low key. He didn't like try to brag that he was so smart and that he could read stuff. And he didn't tell me he was a doctor. I didn't know he was a doctor. He never talked about being a doctor. But in the movie Patch Adams, he got kicked out of medical school because not only did he score the highest that anybody had ever scored on every single test consistently the entire time he was in medical school, the highest score of all time on every test. He also was goofing off a lot with like social stuff and just, sports and having free time. So after a few years in medical school, they're like, okay, you get these ridiculously high scores on your tests, and we never see you studying. Therefore, you're cheating. Therefore, we're kicking you out of school. So he got kicked out of school. He had to prove that he wasn't cheating. So that's in the movie, and that's a trip. But yeah, let me read your comments, and then I will... excuse me while I scratch my nose, and then I'll tell you the cute story about my mom and Patch. What does the dad say about his being a fixer for little T? Oh, he thinks that little T is a complete douchebag. Lev has done a 180. So when he was in prison, like the day he was arrested and when he was going through his trial, and when I think it was a trial, he might have pled out. But when all that was happening, when he was getting busted, little T, who was, he was little T's right-hand man, little T treated him the way he treats E. Jean Carroll. He's like, I've never seen that man before in my life. I don't know who he is. I don't know his name. Nothing to do with him. And Lev was one of his loyalists. Lev was like laying his life on the railroad tracks, across the railroad tracks for the dear leader every day. And so when he saw what the score was, he came around. So while he was doing his time, and then I think he wrote books while he was in prison too. I think he's written a few books. So your next comment is, let me highlight that one if I can. I saw a video. It's blocked now, one sec. I saw a video where they said Taylor Swift is making an album about Virginia Giuffre. I don't know if it was a real video. Wow. It wouldn't surprise me because, especially with Taylor Swift's beef with little T, it wouldn't surprise me at all. That'd be pretty cool, I think. I mean, I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan. Not my style of music. But, and I think a lot of the stuff with her career is weird, to say the least, kind of like Beyonce. People who are that rich and that famous and that successful is just kind of always weird, like the deal with the devil kind of crap. Can she really be that talented and that attractive without making a deal with the devil? She has some good songs. She does have some good songs, and she is a very positive role model in a lot of ways for young women. So anyway, I'm just saying I'm kind of like lukewarm with her. I'd say I'm more than lukewarm with her. I'm just not like a huge fan, like not my style of music. But she does write a lot of songs about the men because she seems to get her heart broken a lot, kind of like Joni Mitchell. And that would make sense that she would be compelled to write some songs about Virginia. That would make a lot of sense to me. So the thing with Lev and Aaron Parnas. Oh, let me finish what I was saying about Patch Adams and my mom. So, and this is the story that I think maybe I've shared once or twice on my channel, but maybe not. When I was in college, when I lived in Washington State, my mom was in Ohio, and she stayed in very close contact with all of her good friends from her DC years, and especially Patch. So, they would have these marathon phone calls probably once or twice a year where they would catch up and just talk for hours and hours. And over the years, it was over this period of time of about 8 years from the time that Patch first mentioned that Hollywood was interested in making a movie about him. And she was sort of like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. And every so often he would bring it up and talk about the progress, but it was really slow. And then one of their conversations, he was really excited. He was like, oh, man, I can't wait to tell you. You're never going to believe who's going to play me in the Patch Adams movie. Well, hold on one second. My nose is like super itchy. Because, it has to be when I'm on screen. It's like a curse or something. And this was probably like, I don't know, early 90s, maybe like around 1990, when Robin Williams was the shit, right? And Patch was like tall and slender, kind of like willowy, and Robin Williams was like short and macho with all his chest hair and real stout and kind of butch looking, and just funny. He was mostly a comedian. He hadn't done a whole lot of serious movies like Dead Poet Society and stuff like that. I think that was one that he was in. Fisher King, he had done Fisher King, but he hadn't done a lot of that type of stuff. He had done mostly his crazy Mork and Mindy routine. And so when Patch said, yeah, you'll never believe who is interested in playing me in the movie, it's moving along finally after being so slow to get going. And my mom was like, no, who? And when he said Robin Williams, she was just like, okay, Patch. Like, she thought, oh crap, he's gone over the deep end. Like, so he did have a psychiatric history. He had attempted to take his own life, which was how he got interested in becoming a physician, which they go into in the movie, because when he was in a psychiatric facility, having failed at taking his own life, and being one of those people who isn't like glad that they failed, but they're upset that they failed. They're angry. Like, they feel even worse about themselves because they're like, I can't even like off myself, right? Like, I'm such a loser. I don't even know how to end it. That's how stupid I am. That's how unsuccessful I am. I can't even successfully just check out. And he was just very despondent, very depressed, and he was kind of treatment resistant. And that was what got him interested in becoming a physician, was so that he could try to help people. And his real message, and this was his thing, this has always been his thing with the Gesundheit Institute, that I think is still open in West Virginia. His whole thing was laughter therapy and bringing people to laughter in order to break through and get them to heal, get their psyche to heal. So that was his thing, laughter therapy. And it was a really weird concept when he started talking about it and trying to sell it. But here we are. I wasn't either until I heard more about her since dating Travis Kelce. Yes, Anna Bees, your team This is so funny. I watched the football game yesterday, and now this is how much, like, I mean, it was like seriously like the most football I've ever watched in a day was yesterday. So after watching your team play, after that game, after the Thanksgiving Bowl or whatever they call it, then I watched the Ohio Cincinnati Bengals playing the Baltimore. What kind of birds are they? Ravens. I'm thinking sparrows, hawks. What are they? The Baltimore Ravens. And Ohio won that game. That was a really good game. But the game before was also really good with the Kansas City Chiefs. And now I'm forgetting who they played. And they played the Dallas Cowboys, right? And who won? Did the Dallas Cowboys win? I can't believe I can't remember. And I was thinking of you because your team. It kind of seems like they won. See, I got so caught up in the Bengals game because there were some really, really good moves in the Bengals game, and that's closer to home. You know, my oldest daughter lives in Cincinnati, so I go to Cincinnati routinely. It's just like an hour away. And then there was the what's his name? Joe Burrows, the oh, I'm such a bad football fan. The quarterback for the Bengals has a toe problem like I do. So that's his nickname. They call him Toe because he has what they call touchdown toe. And he's a phenomenal player. So they hadn't been winning a lot because he'd been out injured. The man's had a lot of injuries. I think it's Joe Burrows. But who won the game? I don't want to talk about that game. Okay, so that wasn't Kansas City that won. It was super close. And that's why I couldn't remember because it was like one was ahead and then the other was ahead. Your team played so well, Annabise. Your team played so well. They played so well that I couldn't even remember who actually won in the end. So I'm sorry. But yeah, the game with the Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, I think it was pretty close until it wasn't. And then it was like in the third quarter that it was obvious that there was no way that Baltimore was going to be able to catch up. I think it was like towards the end of the third quarter. But man, there were some super amazing moves. And that quarterback, he was just so smooth in his delivery. And there was one guy, trying to remember his name or his number. I think he was number 4. And he just literally like jumped right over a guy. I think he caught the ball. The guy was trying to tackle him and he like did a leapfrog over him, like almost hit the guy in the head with his crotch. It was insane. Let me see if I can figure out who that was because I should be able to remember his name. It was a Bengal. I think he was number 4. But I don't even know if my phone will work. Number 4 on the Bengals. Do you hear that click, click? Number, it won't do it by itself. Number 4, Bengals. No, that says Sean Clifford. And that's a quarterback. It wasn't him. Who was, I'll have to ask it, who was the guy, which Bengals player jumped over? Which Bengals player jumped over opposition? Yesterday, not years ago. Come on, yesterday. It doesn't, they didn't record it. Those idiots. So yeah, it was 32-14. Joe Burrow is the guy's name. But his number is 9. 80 was really good too. Man, they had some huge guys. Was it Jerome Simpson? Let me see. That doesn't ring a bell. I'll have to look into it and get back to you guys because I don't want to waste my time on my broken phone. It's like not even getting through the ad yet to see if it's this guy. I can't believe that's not headlines. Yeah, and they didn't like do a replay enough either. That was the best football move I've ever seen. Yeah, there it is. Wait, no, but that was a flip. That guy did a somersault. Number 89. That was 10 years ago. Jerome Simpson jumps up in the air and does a somersault over the opposing team and makes a touchdown. Holy crap, man. That's like surreal. I'll have to put a link to that in the description. Let me go ahead and see if I can do that right now so I don't forget. Copy link. That's insane. I've never seen anything like that, even after the thing I saw yesterday. That is awesome. I'm going to have to start watching football, huh? That is so wild. I'm putting it in, putting the link in. That's the coolest move ever. But yeah, like I said, I'll do some research so I can figure out who the amazing player was that did like the leapfrog. And like I said, he almost hit the guy in the head with his crotch. Like, it was hilarious. Rashid Rice, is that right? Is that who it was? Oh, I thought you meant on the Chiefs. No, I don't think it was on the Chiefs. I think it was the Bengals. Maybe it was Rashid Rice. Maybe that's why it wasn't letting me look it up. Let me check it out. Hey, Billy, what's up? So you watched the game? Did Rashid Rice do that yesterday? Let me look that up real quick. How do you spell that? Rashid Rice. Jumping over opposition yesterday's game. How was your Thanksgiving, Billy? I watched football for the first time in my life. Oh, I think you're right, Anna Bees. I think it was Rashid. Let me see. Well, no, but that's not what the clip that I'm watching, but he is number 4, so it probably was him. It probably was the other game. But they did win, right? Did the Chiefs win yesterday? It's too bad that my brain is mush. I was just like in a ham coma. No, the Kansas City Chiefs did not win. I'm sorry. 31-28. But was he the one who did that move? Because he's got the right number. I thought it was a number 4. Rashid Rice leaps over Dallas Cowboy in yesterday's game. I promise I'll put my phone down after this. In yesterday's game. Okay. Um, like I said, I'll have to do my research. Okay, so I've never been a football fan, but now I think I am. I only watched it because I was trying to hang out with my family, and my husband's never really watched football either. But my daughter, because she lives in Cincinnati, she's been going to all these Bengals games, so that's why we were watching it. Um, Y'all should watch that film, Him 2025, about football. No, not that I remember, but Kareem Hunt jumped over everyone and scored a touchdown. I plan on watching it, Billy. I didn't know it was out already. It's crazy accurate. Oh, yeah, that sounds cool. Is it about like how beat up they get? My goodness. I mean, they're just used and abused. I can't believe any of them can survive a single game. I mean, they've got to use a lot of painkillers, I would imagine. I mean, our bodies just can't take that kind of rough and tumble. I don't care how tough you are. It's about control. Awesome. Well, yeah, and like that guy, the one that was married to not Ghislaine, but Giselle. She was a Victoria's Secret model. Tom Brady and his freaking football gate, flattened football. No, it's about Titanic stuff. Oh crap. Oh, okay. It's about Titanic stuff and football. What? I'm glad that you're bringing this up, ladies, and I'm so glad that you're here because, my brain is having trouble like wandering off as I'm speaking. But you bring up a really good point, and that's that let me scratch my nose again. Man, it's like itchy on the outside. Maybe it's my hair. It's nuts, man. Um the Titanic stuff. So, where to begin? I think that these e-files, if you've been paying attention to what's released and what's said about it, some people have said that what's in the e-files is way worse than anything, the Trumpstein files. It's way worse than anything that's been talked about so far, anything that we can imagine. And so my brain goes where that goes, which is that Titanic type of stuff, and maybe the long pig type of stuff, and just the whole like slave trade buying and selling of not just Homo sapiens, but really young, pint-sized Homo sapiens. I think that that's what is being hidden, and that's what will probably never be released, because not only can we not have somebody in office that is like a Jeffrey Epstein, but that's just the things that we know that MF did. Not talking about the long pig, not talking about the auction blocks, not talking about Titanic, SA, and RA. Remember RA with Romanian Angels? And it took me a few minutes or a few days to realize, oh, RA, that's ritualistic injury, like abuse. That's what RA is. That's like shorthand, like, for people that have been victimized, that have survived that, and for people like therapists. It's just called RA. Like, you don't say the whole term, you just call it RA. And it is kind of rare that people talk about it. It's kind of rare that you have a client that's survived it, that's able to discuss it, because of the disassociation, because of the threats, because of the high percentage that don't survive. And then the ones that do are able to keep it at bay, basically. So It's a lot more common than any of us want to believe. It happens in every effing city in our country. And it has been happening in every city in our country for decades, at least, that I know of, and probably going back way farther than that. And so let's just jump straight down that rabbit hole and talk about these effing Christmas decorations that Melania despises so much. So did you see her out with the Christmas tree for a couple of minutes the other day? That was hilarious. And then it brought to mind in the first term when she was on a hot mic on a telephone call with someone that she thought was a friend, and she was complaining about having to, not only complaining about having to decorate for the holidays and how much she effing hated it, and she effing hated Christmas, and she effing hated the decorations, and who effing cares about the decorations. But then, to add insult to injury, she goes on to say, and then after I work my ass off with all those effing stupid Christmas decorations, then people want me to care about the kids that are separated from their parents. And she's just like, F that. It is so bad. It is so bad. And the decorating that she did was with those red, like the color of the red stuff that runs through our veins, that type of red, trees that really resembled just cones, basically, like giant, like person-sized cones that she lined the hallway in the East Wing with. And that was all the decorating that she did that was publicly viewable, I think. It was what everyone focused on, because people were like, what the F is that? And The Handmaid's Tale was really popular at the time. So people were like, is there a message here? And seeing it again now, I'm thinking that there was definitely a message there, and that it went way beyond Handmaid's Tale, and it went straight to the RA and the Titanic stuff. And that was like a dog whistle. So like all the people that are into that would go, yeah, right on. Perfect. And then the rest of us look at it and just go, what the F? Really? Let's see. It's crazy accurate. It's about control, about the Titanic stuff. Yes. Oh, let me see what your Wikipedia is. OMG, Erica. Yeah, we need to talk more about her because she's off the rails. And Melania. They're both honeypot assets, operatives. They're both honeypot operatives, in my opinion. And they're probably both from the same region. Like, what is that called? Like the Eastern European bloc. I mean, we know that that's where Melania is from, but I'm thinking that, I think it was you, Billy, or Anna Bees, who was saying that they thought that Erica looked Ukrainian or something, possibly too. And she does look a lot like that poor woman that was victimized on the train in North Carolina, the Eileen, is it Zoroka, something like that. Looks a lot alike. Yes, I saw it. She said it's beautiful and then left. Yeah, all of 3 minutes. And she's wearing like 6-inch stiletto heels that you're just like, how on earth does anybody walk in those? And she's just walking around the horse in the tree and says, beautiful tree. And that's like her whole thing. And like, where's her man and where's her family? Like, why is it just her? Like, nobody else could make time for that? No class at all. I know, right, Anna? Honeypots, totally. I'm gonna hit your link real quick and see. Oh, except you know what? I can probably do it on my phone and then not have my screen switch up on me. Let me see if I can. I got to get into the chat. There it is. It's doing it. Oh, okay, that's the film. Him. I'll just read real quick what it says. Oh, it says that it does not have an article with this exact name. Okay. Yes, the film. Supernatural horror film, co-written and directed by Justin Tipping. Well, and there's a lot of Eyes Wide Shut references with the Trumpstein files lately. Did you guys ever see that movie? Because I did not. Dang it, Nancy. Hello, my dear. Did any of you guys see Eyes Wide Shut? Because I'm pretty sure that that's what Eyes Wide Shut is all about. Like the long pig and the RA. So this is Marlon Wayans, Tyreek Withers, Julia Fox, Tim Heidecker, Jim Jeffries. It's a plot follows a young up-and-coming football player training at an isolated camp compound of an aging, nearly retired quarterback. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. The picture, let's see. Oh, and yeah, it kind of is reminiscent of the red tree decorations in that hallway of the East Wing that Melania did so many years ago. It is very reminiscent of that, isn't it? Just the image of him with he's covered in the red stuff. And let's see. Plot, cast, production, music, release, reception. Alternate endings. Here, I'll read a little bit of the plot real quick. Cameron Cade watches his favorite football team, San Antonio Saviors, win the league championships. His joy turns to distress when his quarterback idol, Isaiah White, suffers a violent, possibly career-ending injury while scoring the winning touchdown. Cam's father tells him that real men are willing to make such sacrifices. Years later, Cam's father has passed away, and Cam is now a rising football star. Encouraged by his family and girlfriend, he trains for the league combine. While practicing late on an empty field, Cam is ambushed by someone in a goat costume. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that goat crap. Causing a head injury that endangers his career. Motivated by his agent, Tom, Cam plans to attend the combine to pursue the Sabres quarterback position despite the risk of permanent brain damage if he sustains another injury. While overstimulated due to his concussion, Cam lashes out at his cousin and Tom, ultimately refusing to participate in the combine. I'm not sure what combine is. Tom later reveals that Isaiah is considering retirement and has offered to train Cam for a week at a remote desert. I almost said dessert. At a remote desert compound to prove himself a worthy successor. Cam accepts and travels there, encountering crashed Isaiah fans led by Marjorie, who try to intimidate him out of replacing their hero. At the campground, Isaiah puts Cam through disturbing challenges, including a practice drill where a jugs machine repeatedly hits a player in the face, and another drill where Cam severely headbutts another player. Cam secretly receives shots of Isaiah's red stuff, which he is led to believe is an energy booster, and experiences frequent hallucinations of masked figures. Yeah, now it's getting into the Eyes Wide Shut stuff, right? The masked figures, which he attributes to the concussion. While in a sauna, Cam is attacked by Marjorie and overpowers her. Isaiah arrives and unalives her, leaving Cam unsettled by his apparent lack of remorse for doing so. As Cam tries to leave, Isaiah's wife, Elsie, apologizes for Isaiah's behavior and seduces Cam. He wakes up the next morning to Isaiah holding him at gunpoint, demanding to know if Cam and Elise slept together. Isaiah ridicules Cam for feeling guilty about cheating on his girlfriend, saying winners are remorseless. Elise invites Cam to a secret party. Here we go. To meet the owners of the Saviors. I love the name of the team. When Cam arrives, Marco, the team doctor, whispers to him to run before leaving. The owners offer Cam a strange red liquid, which he drinks, unaware that it's Isaiah's red stuff. Disoriented, Cam finds Marco's severed head in a plastic-lined room. Elise comforts him as he loses consciousness. Cam later wakes up in an ice bath at Isaiah's compound, connected to an IV of Isaiah's red stuff. He rips out the IV, injects a serum given by Marco, and grabs a jagged trophy, aiming to unalive Isaiah and escape. Cam finds Isaiah watching a video of cheering fans. Isaiah reveals he is part of a line of manufactured greatest of all time, the GOAT. I know. Exactly. Like, that's what they always say. You're the GOAT. And it's like, yeah, goat's head soup, right? GOAT players who gain enhanced abilities from ritual red stuff transferred down a lineage. That's how they do it, huh? Isaiah tells Cam they must fight to the death with one GOAT transfusion victor. After a struggle, Cam bludgeons Isaiah with a helmet to his unaliving. Cam leaves the room and steps into a football field where he finds Elise, the Savior's owners, and Tom, all wearing animal masks. Gross. That's like a Twilight Zone, right? And then their faces become the animals and they can't take the masks off. That was like one of the worst Twilight Zones. I think Ron Howard played in that when he was a little kid. I think he's in that episode. They present him with a contract to sign, revealing that Cam's father arranged for him to be the next GOAT. They explain that the earlier mass attack was orchestrated to lead Cam to the Saviors. Cam refuses to sign the contract, and in a violent outburst, unalives Elsie, all the owners, and the masked attacker, who is revealed to be Isaiah and Cam's trainer, Malik, using a hammer and a sword. However, he spares Tom, who is subsequently dragged into a pentagram and destroyed by an unseen force. And interesting that our Pentagon is a pentagram, huh? Beyond interesting. Outside the compound, a bloodied Cam walks past masked cheerleaders and into the desert. Okay, I'm not going to read the alternate endings. I'll just stop right there. That's wild. Thank you for that. EWS is a documentary, in my opinion. Yeah, it sounds like it. I saw Eyes Wide Shut. I was bored, so I didn't really watch it well. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Admin has a film budget, and they telling us what they're doing to our face through entertainment, like EWS from Kubrick and him type films. Yeah. So the administration has a film budget, and they're telling us what they're doing. You're talking about the government, telling us what they're doing to our faces through entertainment, like EWS from Kubrick and him type films, and Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the same old story. Power to the people. Yeah. Mr. Mark, what's up, man? How's your Thanksgiving? Freaking pentagram. Yes. You're right on time, Mark. You're right on time. So I feel like I should show you guys the back of my shirt, not to show off because it's like super cool because you can see my tattoo, but just because my shirt keeps like falling, and this is what it looks like in the back. Is that so cool? So that's why I'm like standing kind of funny, because I keep trying to make sure it doesn't fall down my shoulders. It's a yoga shirt, but I just thought I'd wear it for my video before I do my yoga. No shirt like that here. Mark, you're so funny. Not much here for Thanksgiving, but you've got Ripley. Is Ripley doing all right? I'm always wondering how Ripley's doing, because Ripley is what, like 16, 17? Isn't Ripley pretty up there in the years? I have a cat that old, and she's doing pretty good. Yes, pretty good. 17. That's amazing. That is so freaking amazing. I love it. Because, Coco, who's about 11, is in full recovery from her cancer. So we have a second lease on her life. And then Mookie, my little baby, is probably 9. And yeah, it goes so fast. And it's just, you don't ever want to think about anything happening to your little fur babies. He got a bath and is going a bit nuts. Yeah. F cancer, Coco. Yeah, cancer tried to get her, and we beat it. Had to take out a second mortgage on our house, but that's all right. Not complaining. Totally worth it, and we're very lucky that we had the ability to work with it. Also, what was I going to say about oh man, all 3 of our dogs were going crazy yesterday with the ham cooking for hours. I was telling people earlier, for anyone who missed it, my husband cooked up a Costco ham that was like the most phenomenal ham I've ever had in my life. The glaze on that thing is the bomb diggity. So yeah, we have lots of ham left over. So I wanted to look at my notes. There's some stuff that I really wanted to share with you guys, but it might get kind of in depth. So I'm wondering if I should do it in this video or maybe plan it for tomorrow. I'd kind of rather just do it today. And I'll tell you what it is in just a second. It has more to do with the, I wanted to talk more about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk too, but this is getting a little bit in depth with the birthday book, the Trumpstein files. Because I've been watching this video, I think it's like an hour long. I've been rewatching it, and I wanted to share some of it with you. The channel is new to me, and I haven't linked it up in the description yet, but maybe I shall do that while I'm looking it up. Because, of course, I can't even remember the name of the content creator. His name is Patrick Boyle. Are you guys familiar with this Patrick Boyle guy? He has like 1 million subs, so maybe you are familiar. I'm putting the link in the description of this video right now as we speak. And then I was going to read you some of the screenshots from it. It's some crazy stuff. It is some serious crazy stuff. And, I told you guys that I read through a lot of the birthday book, and it like literally almost made me vomit. It's that bad. And, a lot of people don't really talk about the stuff in there that's so rancid. But I was first going to look and see if I did some screenshots of it. Yeah, I did some screenshots of it. Are you ready? I think we should talk about this. It's really bad. But what is this? This is Kirby Summers. I'm a big fan of Kirby Summers. So this is like what you guys are talking about. I don't know if you'll be able to see this too well. I'll put a link to this in the description too. This is the thumbnail of one of her videos. And these are goat type of hideous creatures. And they have little tiny cages on their backs with small people in them. And Kirby Summers is a survivor of the whole creepy thing. But one of the things from this guy's video, and I did already link it up in the description, one of the things that is so profound to me, I'm trying to talk about too many things at once. Patrick Boyle, that's his name, his video, and looking at the screenshots that I took from it, is that it in the birthday book, and I didn't catch this until watching his video, it looks like Ghislaine was with Ghislaine was born in 1960. They say that she met little E in 91, around the same time that her father passed away, like right before or right after. And this birthday book has a card, one of the pages in it, where it looks like it was much earlier than that. And let me see if I can find it. OMG, this is so disturbing. Oh, I think I know right where it is. 1 second. Is that it? No, that's not it. Yeah, that is it. It is, it isn't. Well, this is a picture of them together in 91. And that's little E in the red snowsuit, and then Ghislaine next to him. And he's actually hugging her, which all the pictures that I've ever seen of them together, she's always the one being affectionate towards him. And I think that this is the two of them when they were much younger. So it looks as if they might have met as early as in the late 70s, maybe, because he was in New York. He was working at that, he was working at Bear Stearns, I think, by the late 70s. I think he was hired there in 1974. No, he was hired at the elite high school. I'm blanking on the name right now. I want to say Dalton's. Is it Dalton High School in Manhattan that he worked at? The one that William Barr's father was the headmaster. So he worked there in 74. I think he got fired maybe by around 76 when they figured out that he didn't have the credentials that he said he had. And then he went to work at Bear Stearns. And Ghislaine's dad, he'd been hanging out in New York since like the 50s. And he was a really shady character in a lot of ways. We all know that. But he was probably an asset for the same countries that little E and little T were assets for. He was also an arms dealer, like little E. They both sold arms illegally to the country that begins with the letter I. So that was where a lot of the money came from. You know, there's so much talk about the money, like where'd all the money come from? So there's a lot of cryptic stuff in the birthday book, in addition to the birthday letter from Dear Leader. Let me read this. There have long been questions about when and how Jiz and little E met. In fact, it was one of the first questions Todd Blanche, the deputy U.S. attorney, asked asked Jiz during her recent Department of Justice interview. This is a BBC article. Jiz, who was previously charged with perjury for lying to the investigators, has been convicted of the Rex Smex transporting, told Blanche that she had met Epstein in 1991. Neither she nor her family had ever heard of him before that. Now, I know for a fact that that's bull crap, that her dad knew him for much longer, at least in like 1987. Okay, so here's this. This is from the birthday book. Jeffrey, I remember in the mid-70s you being a star salesman for our tax advantage strategies and hedged option program. I was running an account for Bob Maxwell. That's Jiz's dad. You always had the ability to know everyone and be charming. Was that when you first discovered the Maxwell teenage daughter? Happy birthday, Elliot Wolk. W-O-L-K. So in the mid-70s, Jiz was born in 1960. So I think that little E was born in 53. So in the mid-70s, he would have been an adult, a young adult. And maybe he met Maxwell when she was a teenager. And maybe she was, maybe she was being transported by her dad, because he's that bad. Her dad is horrible. And maybe it wasn't transporting. Maybe little E started dating her. But mid-70s, that sounds about right. Let me see what else I have in this stuff. 1 second. So many absolutely twisted photographs. I mean, so many of them. Like, this is a page of just photographs from the birthday book, and you see all the redactions on there. And the stuff that you can see is pretty freaking skanky. So imagine what you can't see. I think I wanted to read this one to you guys. My dear Jeffrey, it was one of his birthday letters. I can write about how I want to. Oh, yeah. Trigger warning. This was the one I was looking for. Have you all seen Blink Twice? Describes everything about Diddy. Kind of creepy. No, I haven't even heard of it. Just watched the Upchurch court case about Kylie. Oh, really? Dang it, Nancy. Where can we see that? Anna Bees, can you put a link in the chat? 1975, I was 12, so Jiz would have been 16. Yeah, 1975, I was 8. I was in Beverly Hills when I was 8 in 1975. Did you all know there was an island before the E Island? It's on Upchurch page. It's like 10 hours. Wow. Okay, now trigger warning. Are you ready for this? Thank you so much for that. Dang it, Nancy. I will check that out. That is wild. And for all we know, the freaking cases tie together. For all we know, there's something to that. But like I said, trigger warning. My dear Jeffrey, I can write about how I want to cut you into bird head pieces and chew them between my molars until I suck all of the red stuff and juice out of you. No stew, just raw. This is a birthday letter. To me, I honestly would guess that it's from RFK Jr. because they hung out too. And we know that he loved birds and wrote crazy things. If you saw that horrible poetry from last week's news with the girl much younger than him. Or I can write about how you never cease to amaze me with your kindness and generosity to so many whose lives you touch in several ways. Thanks for taking me to gospel. Most importantly, I can tell you how happy you make me by simply being you. Yet no words would suffice to capture what you really mean to me. I'm very lucky to have you in my life and hope that you know I will be there for you if you ever need me. Happy birthday. P.S. I do not share. That's kind of perverted. I don't really want to show you guys that. Yeah, the government contracts is just crazy. And all of the people, you know, I keep going back to that family that of the granddad and the dad, the Stark family, and the teenage girl that were on that airplane that crashed sometime around this past April of 2025 in Boca-Raton, not too far away from Mar-a-Lago, and how that father had just been appointed to CEO, and his dad, so the teenager's granddad, had built up this super successful company. If I can remember the name of it, communication. I have to Google it. It's such an easy name that I can never remember it. Communication and satellite company in Boca-Raton. Stark family. Satellite communication services. Robert George Stark. And the stupidest thing about it is how hard it was to find the name of the business. And I don't even know if it'll say in here the name of the business, because it usually doesn't. They just say family business. They try to act like it wasn't that big of a business, but it was huge. It was the kind of company that would have been in direct competition with the big E for a lot of these is it Robert George Stark? Yeah. I don't think it says the name of his company. It's like communication and intelligence. Robert Stark communication. It's like fiber optics, communication, fiber optic company. A multi-billion-dollar company. I know I'm kind of going all over the place with this stuff. Again, I'll have to look it up later. I know I have it in a bunch of my other videos. Now I forget why I was even bringing it up. Just the money, honey. The money, money, money. And just eliminating the competition. That's, like I said, I forget why I was even looking at it, honestly. 1975, you all know there was an island, Upchurch. So disgusting, RFK. Yeah, that was absolutely disgusting. I can't even do the trigger warning for that thing that I emailed or that I texted you about, Annabise. You have to watch Blink Twice. You'll really like it. It's got Tatum Tanning and Zoe Kravitz. Yeah, that sounds like a good cast. Yeah, Blink Twice. I'll check it out. What is the name of that? Stark Family Business. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. Stark Family Business. I'll put it in the description. It's such an easy business name. Like, it just sounds like no big deal. It's like Communication LLC, Communication and Intel, something like that. It's been around for like 40 years. And so the dad had just been appointed to be the CEO. And then their plane goes down. So I think that's all. I think my brain is evaporating and my dog is barking, and that totally hijacks the brain. Can we please wake up from this nightmare? Oh, you're cute, Annabise. I think we can, but it just blows my mind how it just continues on and on. Like, why is the 25th Amendment not being enacted, right? Seriously. One of the government officials was trying to make a motion to have the MRI results released to the public. Donnie Tudall's most recent MRI results. I think that that's valid. I think we all deserve that because he's got the Swiss cheese in the brain, like worse than I do. And I'm not president, right? I mean, it's one thing when you're just making a YouTube video the day after a ham coma from Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off since I'm just kind of flailing and the dog's barking, and I love you guys. Thanks so much for being here, hanging out, and I will find the name of that communication company that Robert Stark started. And I think where I was going with that was just like all the government contracts, all the money, all the funny money. It's like monopoly money. It's like all of our taxpayer money that goes to all these freaking billionaires, and they're just robbing everybody blind. It is a nightmare. And I do think that we'll be able to wake up from it, but I appreciate your question is, can we please wake up from it? Yeah, like now would be a good time. And what kind of false flag distractions are going to happen over the weekend? Like this whole term of this douchebag Donnie, this whole second term of his, I've kind of like gotten really nervous before every weekend, because it seems like weekends is where he really likes to do crazy crap in the middle of the night, like literally middle of the night, Saturday night, tear little children out of their beds in their homes. Middle of the night, send undocumented immigrants to a gulag in El Salvador. Middle of the freaking night on the weekends. It's just shady AF. And yeah, we deserve better. Make it stop. But let's be more positive and end on a positive note. Isn't it nice to be together? It is. It really is. And it's Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday. I'll definitely be trying to do a video over the weekend. I'm not sure if tomorrow will work. Hopefully. If not, then definitely by Sunday. Because you know how much I hate getting out of the habit, and it's just something I feel like I need to do pretty much every day. Like, it's good to take 1 or 2 days off a week, but not more than 1 or 2. When I have to take a few days off in a row, it really bothers me. And it's usually something beyond my control, like the problems with the braces or the holiday or whatever. So no more of that. No more of those problems, right? Not until Christmas. So thanks again for being here, my lovelies. And I will see you soon. Hopefully. Drink your water. Here, I'll turn around again so you can see the tattoo once again. I know I used to show it to you guys every so often. It's like 6 characters. The top one is representative of myself. The bottom one is representative of my husband, if you can see the whole thing. And then the 4 in between me and him are the 4 kids. So the top one, I think, is life. The bottom one is wholeness. And then the kids are like anew, genius, fortunate, and what's the other one? Anew, genius, fortunate, and tranquility. I remembered all 6 of them. It's been forever. Okay, my brain does work. Thank goodness. I just had to prove that to myself before saying good night. All right, you guys. Peace out. Love to you. Drink your water, eat your protein and your fruits and veggies, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to hit your like button if you don't mind.